There is a DNA shift that has taken place. There are no one events that happen. There is no one big shift. It is a process because of the collective. Not everything happens in one instance. However, everything is one thing. Your DNA may have shifted. I'm going to talk to you about how you might know that. Mine has. I didn't know what it was, and I'm going to share with you some of the symptoms and signs that may have been happening, what it means, and how it all fits into where we're going right now. Let's go. Welcome to Landria, Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an amazing life. Do I have a little pointy hat now? I know you guys see the little pointy hat thing sometimes and have a little chuckle. Nothing wrong with a good laugh. I'm going to talk about DNA today. It is real. It is not a woo-woo thing that we're making up. There is actual scientific evidence that things have been changing, and the question is why? I guess the bigger question was, why did we have all of these components in our body that seemed to be what was called junk DNA, areas that were not really purposeful, at least that scientists could see, and that's where we get ourselves in trouble. I don't believe that there's such thing as an actual particle. A particle is made up of energy, and so it cannot be created nor destroyed. Therefore, it cannot be actually split. We spend billions of dollars splitting atoms and all this other stuff to harness its power. But the truth is, the actual power is something much greater, and that is within you. Your DNA holds the absolute power that lies in everything, and including atomic power, whichever way you choose to use it. We have been going through a shift here. It's part of the big, let's just say, experience and adventure that all of us agreed to during this time period. Many came here during this challenging time, not so much more than others. We've been through worse times than this, more challenging, I should say. Came here specifically to volunteer their services to allow certain changes to transpire on the planet. That includes our little health challenge that we went through. Many people left the planet during that time. That was planned. When we mourn loss, we're mourning the ego's physical view of what it is, of what we are, and that is material, a material world with an ending. When you go into an awakened state, there are no endings. You will still experience being a human. There's pain. Sometimes there's struggle. What is struggle? That's when we deny the experience we're going through, and we don't like it, so we fight it, we battle it, and we have the mind going and the chatter at 3 a.m. Now I want to share something with you, because the DNA change is absolutely a part of all that energy field, and it will affect you. But I want you to know something right now, and I make this very clear to all of my students. And that is, just because you experience fear, or you go through the dark night of the soul maybe over and over again, or you go through sadness and questioning, does not mean you're not in an awakened state. The fact that you're on this channel right now tells me that you are. It's a process. It's like anything. When you start working out, you get stronger and stronger, and no two people are in the exact same path or have the exact same muscles and body and responses, and that's you. So there is no one place to go to. It's eternal. Even the higher realms that are unseen, the energy fields, the angels, all the things that are out there that we don't understand are all part of an illusion playing out by a one energy field. And I know we always think of ourselves as the illusion, the matrix, and everything else out there isn't. Well, of course it is. It's just another play, another adventure, another experience. And so we've been through those too. DNA is the low frequency mechanism that has been placed in this body to allow us to expand outside of it. And so people call us a prison planet. There's no prison. We've created it ourselves. How can it be a prison planet when we have the capabilities to be totally kind and loving and compassionate to one another? You know, some people have asked me before, do you get angry about this or that? Or I bet you that makes you angry. And I said to my students just this week, it doesn't exist. Anger is not even a part of my emotions, because anger gets replaced by compassion when you go into that place of awakening. And so anger, it's a different kind of a feeling. It's a sadness sometimes that we see things going on here, because the density of that person that's experiencing a specific journey that they desire to go through and they're learning from, it is a little painful for us as humans to have to see that. And of course it affects all of us. But by going into the darkness or the anger or the blame, or not having compassion, keeps us all in that lower frequency. This is why it's so important for you to rise up. And that is going to affect your DNA. Now there's two things going on. Number one is, just because of what I share with you, you may not have experienced, doesn't mean your DNA hasn't shifted, or may not have already shifted before you came in. Maybe you came into a higher DNA intelligence, and that's all it is. It is just an energy shifting into various stages, areas, spaces, because everything's completely connected. All you're seeing right now is the apparent individuality of what we are, but it isn't. It's all connected, but when we see things, it appears to be separate. And it's just an energy field and a vibration. Within it is a frequency. Humans have the ability, the free will, to change their frequency. So we all come in a low vibration. That's not knowing who we are. We went into an unconscious state. The biggest challenge of all. Really big school time, PhD stuff here that you went into. So be proud of yourself for taking it on, because you didn't think it was going to be this challenging, right? But we do have the power to change any circumstances. You do right now. Now, if you've taken any of my courses, I have to share something with you today. And there's a video I did on Helen Hadsell, a housewife who read The Power of Positive Thinking and won 5,000 contests just with her mind alone. This is not for just awakened people or people who do good things or people who have some kind of knowledge of how the quantum field works. Scientists certainly don't have a handle on that. In fact, they're very limiting because they rely on what they see and results. You don't need that, because that's called faith. And when you go into that space, you know that you have access to that power. You have DNA inside your body that holds the same power as everyone else. Now, is it activated or not? So let's talk about that DNA. It's an energy field. It's a mechanism, part of the matrix mechanism, just like certain things are in place for us here, that will allow you to shift into some higher power within your body. All right, so we are the one field of everything, right? You don't lose touch with your connection from your higher self. Your higher self, all we're saying when we refer to that is, there is you out here expanded that is much more knowledgeable than your human body form here, and you're always connected to it, but you're still experiencing being human. You have to do this. This is what we came here for. So we can access that power. It is our higher self, but the self is everything. So that means that all knowledge and all probabilities, everything exists there, and it is a part of you. Whether or not you're ready to do that is really your own individual journey. So you may have come here to learn certain things, so accessing miracles right now may not make sense for you. Maybe you need to experience loss or pain of some kind, or learning how to love yourself, or letting go of things and learning that there's an amazing, beautiful life out there. And you can go into it. You can break through fear. My whole platform is just breaking through the fear and realizing the other end of that door, that scary door, is a beautiful light, and all probabilities exist for you. All you have to do is step into it. So that's the journey. And so that's why we remain in this lower density, to know that. But you can still transition into that higher realm still as you're here in your body. Well, what happens is, when you go into certain phases within your own adventure here, your DNA kicks in to allow you much more, let's just say, connection to that which you are. It is powering up, basically. if someone does not have that symptom or hasn't experienced that or doesn't feel like they are in that just more powerful realm here on the planet as a human, it has no meaning whatsoever in the big picture other than it's just a different experience. It's neither good nor bad. You cannot make a bad choice. You can only just experience things. And if you desire to experience things that are less pleasant, you are not making a wrong decision. You're not making a mistake. You're still there. And then when you sort that out, you go to the next level. No one gets left behind. There's no getting left behind. Only humans place time on that. So the DNA is a mechanism within our bodies. It's a spark, basically, a big old spark plug that allows you to access your higher powers that are right here when you're ready for it, or maybe in advance you already decided to have that kick in at a certain time. You may have a different path than somebody else. So neither right nor wrong. What are the symptoms of the DNA acceleration? So the activation, I should call it. Well, I had it and I didn't know what it was. And I had it for probably about easily 2 years. What happens is, and many of you will experience this, is like an electrical charge going through your body. Not muscles that are going through some weird thing, or you don't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm sick, or there's something happening. In fact, there's no connection to feeling good or bad in it. It's just if you put your hand on something that had a higher electrical charge and it went through your body, that's what it feels like. It's not the same for everyone. Mine was, it would start at my feet. I'd be in a relaxed state in bed. I think it almost always happened when I was getting ready to go to sleep. And I would not be asleep. It would start to send charges all the way up through my body. Now, sometimes the electrical charges, I called it, got so intense, it borderline uncomfortable. It would happen just periodically for a period of months, and sometimes it would go away for a couple months and then it would come back, and it'd be consistently over and over again for a period of 2 years, coming and going. I actually started looking this up and asking people, what is this? I definitely felt like it was something. Now, I never felt like, I have the key to the universe when it happened, but I knew something was changing in my body. And I knew that it was not threatening to me. There was no feeling of dread or what's happening. So my question to you is, are you experiencing anything like that? It doesn't make you or I special. It just means that we're in a different place on this pathway, and it's kicking in. And that means that you will have insights and access a little bit more than the people who have not activated their DNA, because all you're doing is just removing veils. You're connecting to a power, that higher power, that they have too. They just have a few more doors shut, a few more veils. They want to experience certain things. Now, a lot of people left this planet during our little health challenge, which is still going on. Why? They volunteered in advance to help shift the planet, to take us into a completely new era, making it global. A lot of people agreed that they would come in and during that time period would leave in order to allow this big shift. If they hadn't left, transitioned, it wouldn't have been a big deal, right? No big deal. Okay, we're all getting a little bit sick. We've had the flu before. We've had some stuff. But that really shook us up. It separated us physically, and it took us into a different state of mind and body. It changed how we work. It changed how we work with each other. It divided people. People would argue. People that felt like they shouldn't have to wear the masks would get angry if other people did. And it allowed you to see where you are in your density, because if you go into separation, you are in a lower density. Not to be judged, because you're still thinking of yourself as separate. And the whole end game goal of this matrix game you're playing is unity. It's going back into oneness. It's going back into total compassion. It's going back into love and sending love to the least of us. right? This you do to the least of us, you do to me. What does that mean? That means that is you. That's the same energy field. That's not a person over there. It's an energy field playing out a person. And that's your test. So if you're still in that and you're still separating yourself with, institutions or governments or religions or whatever it is you think, and you find enemies, you're still not getting it, that we have to move past that thinking, because our DNA activation is allowing us to access powers that will not be accessible to everyone until they're ready for it. So again, some people came here to activate that at a certain time period. Now, that may have been happening prior. I'm sure it has. I'm sure there are a lot of people walking the planet that were way more physically and spiritually advanced with that connection to the body. So like I said, it's a spirit-body thing that's going on. In other words, this dense body has to go to a higher, let's just say, existence, frequency, vibration, I should say, in order for us to be the energy field within it that operates on a higher level, because it's so dense. I mean, you literally would just like explode if you showed the actual powers you had. And there are those people on this planet who've done that, and they've literally disappeared and reappeared, and they do all kinds of amazing things because they've expanded their density of their body outside, and their DNA is totally in activation, and that's what it is. So don't judge it good nor bad, or you're being left behind. No one gets left behind, because how can anything get left behind? When I walk out of the door, my fingers are still here. And I walk out the door, they're going with me. Oh, I'm not the finger. I'm this. And I go out the door and I'm like, wait, the fingers are still there, because the body is the body. You cannot separate yourself. You can try to, but that is just an illusion, again, and another experience for you to realize. That is me. I am that. I am. Now, are you having symptoms, experiences? The higher DNA will also, you'll find out whether you choose it or not. You could still go out and do some nasty stuff. Whether you choose it or not, you'll find out if perhaps you're getting insights and messages that you never thought possible. So you're going to get, I started to get a lot of downloads, and that was right around the time that I started my YouTube channel. So it was time for me to shift into something new. I got rid of my investment banking career. I pursued different things on YouTube and internet digital marketing with no intention of being a spiritual teacher. So by letting go and removing veils, I allowed myself to stop judging where I was being taken, and to step into that realm that sometimes could be a little scary, not knowing where you're going or what you're doing, or you don't know your purpose or anything like that. I just went with it. So I was being led by a higher guidance system. That's what it is. And so I knew there were physical change going on. I had a spontaneous healing in my foot, ironically. I should have had an operation, but overnight I remembered the moment when it was happening, and I knew that something was working on it. That meant that I was healing everything that was holding me back, and I was now going in a right direction. So one of the things that will happen when you go into that activation is you see the illusion of everything. You see the media as pretty entertaining. You realize that it's so easy to misguide people or direct them, and you don't participate in it anymore. In fact, you disengage because you realize, I'm just being led by voices over here and here. It's over here, and you're not realizing that you hold that power right there to access just beautiful things. So why would you pursue anything that would cause fear or pain, separation, judgment, separation? I cannot express that enough. We are in the year of collaboration and community, and it is going to remain that way for the rest of your existence here. Without it, we will not survive. There will be the others that choose not to go into light during their journey here as human beings in this seeming timeline here on planet Earth. And they're going to play out horrific things. Be prepared for that. You will absolutely glide through it when you are in community and you see it differently. You see it as the challenge and the glorious moment when you get to go into the other end of the split, the light that allows you to never have to come back and be challenged here at that again. You've mastered it. And so it's not about them, it's about your reaction and your response. Everything's about your response. All right, so you're worried about who's doing what, and I'm hearing the most ridiculous things out there, and I'm actually always stunned at what people believe. They're so easily manipulated. But the question is, why are you watching that anyways? When you go into DNA activation, you have no interest in that stuff at all because you see it as what it is, false, all false. And so you realize the things that you focus on most, expansion, inspiration, motivation, giving, love, compassion, watching your own self and saying, what is it I still can work on that'll take me to that higher frequency, and things will happen within your body and a healing that will be miraculous. And if you're hanging on to any of that, you might be having some physical issues right now. So that's not to be judged either. We learn from that too. Can you let go of having to know anything or label it? The DNA activation is going to happen for everyone who chooses to step into that higher frequency, because then the body has to again catch up with that energy field that's going higher in order for it to function properly. And that's all it is. And it's so much deeper and expansive than, of course, this explanation. Watch for those downloads, those answers, that guidance, and don't be afraid to go into spaces that you may have never tried before. Explore. It's beautiful, and you are beautiful. I have free videos, and I have all kinds of courses out now. Break through fear and activate your magic is advanced manifesting. We're tapping into all of that, and we're going into the space and focus of nothing but pure love and all the wonderful things that await you right now. It's always a choice for you, always. You are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. I hope that you will share my videos. I hope that you'll share my videos. My subject matter doesn't always get the most views. I'm not trying to sensationalize things, but I promise you that I will consistently send the messages that you are all powerful, beautiful, and perfect. And there's nothing that you cannot do, be, or have. And when you do it on a high frequency, we go into a new earth unlike any other here. Share that message, because it exists right now, and you can step into it, my friend. Namaste.